Hey everybody, Nate Joma with another episode of Space Coast Real Estate Spotlight. Today we are joined by Devin with DBJ. He's going to be giving us a lot of information about what a home inspector does and giving us some breakdowns on the different types of services that they can provide to you. Stick around. Devin, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Nate?
Glad to have you here. So, what does DBJ do? I know you're an inspector, but what does that mean? That could mean so many different things.
Okay, so DBJ is home inspections for multiple things. We service buyers, sellers, homeowners that need new insurance and have to get insurance forms. Any customer that's looking for a termite inspection, because we actually, I'll get into that a little bit later, but we actually have the license to be able to do our own pest control inspections. Pest control operators license to do pest inspections. But we're here for pretty much all of your inspection needs. We can do environmental inspections if somebody's having an issue with potential mold or something in their house, or any other kind of issue. We can actually do all sorts of VOC testing. So we've actually had people who they weren't feeling so well, couldn't figure out what was going on, ended up being a freon leak at their air conditioner that we found by running VOC testing, and it came back with high levels of freon in their air. So there's all sorts of stuff that we do, but honestly, our biggest thing is home inspections for real estate sales.
Nice. So you mentioned that you can do all kinds of different like pest or termite inspections and other things as well. For a VA loan, we have to have a wood destroying organism or a WDO sheet. So that's something that when somebody orders their home inspection from you, they could also couple that if they're doing a VA loan.
Yes. So most of the time, almost, I want to say probably 85% of our customers get a termite inspection. When it comes to a VA loan, there's actually, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but most lenders will actually accept a different form other than the state WDO form, which is the NPMA 33. It's wood destroying insects only. From what I understand, for the VA loans, they really just want to make sure that there's no termites. So on that one, we don't have to put wood rot. So sometimes when we have a customer and, if we're doing a full home inspection and we find wood rot on the house, but they really want the house and don't want to have any issues and it's a VA loan, they'll ask us to give them that WDI form instead of the WDO form so that there's no issues when it comes to the loan.
Sure. Yeah. The WDI is really what we look for. I generalize it as the WDO because it covers all the different things. But yeah, absolutely spot on. You know your stuff. So what would I want to reach out to you for if I didn't need to buy a new home? You had mentioned, I think, insurance updates. Like how would that help me with my insurance?
Okay, so in the state of Florida, there's a state form that the insurance companies ask for. It's called a wind mitigation form. They're looking for certain features of the house that help protect it against heavy windstorms. So they want to know, there's a few credits, and I'll go through them. So the first one is strictly based off of the age of the house, of when it was built. If the house was built and permitted past March 1st, 2002, they can get a credit for being up to the newer SBC codes, FBC codes. If you have a roof that was put on and permitted past March 1st, 2002, it gets a newer roof credit for being up to the FBC roof credits on the roof. Certain strapping, the way that the roof is tied down to the structure, they'll get credits for. There's different levels of it. There's clips, there's single wraps, double wraps. They all mean different things. But the biggest concern is that you're actually getting that credit. That's a big credit as long as you're getting one of them. As far as I understand, there's not a big difference between the three different types of credits. As long as you're getting that credit, that's a big credit. And then from what else, as far as I understand as well, again, I'm not an insurance person, so you'd have to talk to your insurance agent. As you get more credits compiled together, it's not as big of a difference. So if you have all of the credits and then you have a double wrap instead of clips, it's not going to be as big of a difference going to that double wrap from a clip credit. But again, these are things to really confirm with the insurance person. But we're looking for the strapping, how it's tied down, making sure that there's something there. And then we're looking for opening protection. If the house has all of the glass protected by either its impact glass or it has an impact rated shutter system over it, it has to be all of it. It's an all or nothing credit. So if there's one piece of glass that's not protected, it actually takes away the whole credit. But in our area, there's different levels of that credit. In our area, we're not the high velocity hurricane zone. That's only Dade and Broward County. So we can get a credit as long as all the glass is protected. The solid doors don't have to be protected. So like if your garage door is not impact and it's solid, no glass in it, it's okay. You can get a credit. If you have a front entry door that's solid and doesn't have glass in it and it's not protected, it's okay. You can get a credit as long as all the glass is protected. So different areas have different things, but these are some of the things that we're looking for. We're looking to see if we can see it in the attic. Sometimes there's a gap at the sheathing where we can see if there's a peel and stick secondary water barrier underneath the roof covering. Then we can get a credit for that. And all these things kind of just help bring the insurance price down. And then when it comes to a 4-point inspection, those are usually only good for 1 year. The wind mitigation is good for 5. 4-point is usually only good for 1 year. And the state rule is 20 years old or older, they require a 4-point inspection. Some insurance companies, depending on who it is, they may ask for it even if the house is newer than that. A lot of them are starting to do that. But they basically want to know the age and condition of 4 of the major components of the house. It's a limited inspection. It's only specific things that they have on the form that we're looking for. And they ask for pictures to kind of back it up. So it's plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and roof.
So the roof is part of the 4-point, but then it also includes HVAC, electrical, and plumbing, you had said, right?
Yes.
So when I'm buying a new home, why does the insurance company want to have that 4-point? Are there different discounts to go along with certain electrical and plumbing and things like that as well?
No, so that's not for discounts. That's honestly for the insurance company to try and protect themselves from insuring something that has pre-existing issues.
Gotcha.
So, just to give you an example, certain things that might show up on a 4-point. We're doing a home inspection. We're doing the 4-point and the wind mitt and everything for the customer. We find exposed wiring up in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
That's considered a safety hazard and something that they want to know about. We have to put that on the 4-point, and then they're going to usually say this needs to be fixed before we'll insure the home. Something like a roof leak, a plumbing leak, certain electrical panels, certain types of electrical wiring, or certain types of plumbing. So a big one for plumbing is polybutylene. From 1978 to 1996, there was a gray flexible plastic piping that was used for the supply piping in homes. It started having higher than normal failure rates and some issues. One of the big issues is it would have leaks at the fittings. Another issue is it actually reacted badly with some of the chemicals that they use to treat city water, and the pipe itself would just kind of corrode from the inside out and cause leaks. So they don't want that used anymore. In 96, they told all the builders you have to use up what stock you have left, and it is no longer allowed in residential plumbing. So usually if we go to a house and it has that, we have to put that on the 4-point inspection. Most of the time the insurance company is going to say, hey, we're not going to cover this house unless this is replaced and the whole house is repiped. Or they may give you the option to go with a special policy that limits out the plumbing. So if there was any plumbing issues, they're not going to cover anything. But these are some of the kind of bigger things that they're really looking for to kind of protect themselves. And then obviously, if this is in a purchase, then this is protecting the buyer at the same time, because you're going to try and negotiate that most of the time to see if the seller will do anything about it.
Yeah, for sure. So when I'm buying a new house and I hire DBJ to help me with my inspection, what can I expect to get from you? Do you tell me everything that needs to be fixed? Like, what does a normal home inspection look like?
Okay, so from my company, for one, the biggest thing is you're going to get a great experience and you're going to get amazing customer service. That's huge for us. This is a a full-time thing. I mean, this is our business. This is my baby. It's not like a side business or a retirement business or something like that. So I have a fully staffed office that's going to be there to help my customers all the time. I have multiple inspectors. You're going to get amazing customer service. Now, when it comes to the home inspection, we're going to do everything that we can to try and find as many issues for the customer as we can. We are limited by the fact that it is a visual inspection, and there's certain things we are and are not allowed to do, and we toe the line sometimes on what we're not allowed to do, and we do as much as we can. But sadly, it's politics. There's other professions. It's their license. We're not allowed to do this because it's their license. But we're going to go through the entire house. We're going to go over every system. I'm going to use as much technology as possible to see things that maybe we can't see. But just to give you a quick rundown of how our inspection goes, because all my guys, we're all going to do the same thing. When we get there, we're going to start on the outside, and we try to do everything as efficiently as possible. So we do everything in circles. So we'll start on one side of the house, one corner of the house, and we're going to make a circle. And when we get back to that corner, we know we're done. We've hit every system on the outside of the house, every area on the outside of the house. Okay. Once we're done with the outside of the house, if it has a sprinkler system, we're going to run the sprinklers before we get on the roof. And then we're going to get on the roof next. Then we're going to go into the garage after that. And then again, we have certain things we do in the garage. So we're going to hit all the big things in the garage. If the air handler's in the garage, the water heater's in the garage, we're going to go look at those first. If the electrical panel's in the garage, we're going to look at that. And then we're going to make our circle around the garage. Then we're going to go inside. We're going to start in the kitchen, and we're going to make a circle through the house. Same thing. So everything is the same every time. The only thing that changes is how big the house is. So it may take a little bit longer to get through it, but we make sure that we're limiting the potential for mistakes. And we're going over every system in the house, again, using as much technology as possible. So we use thermal imaging. Every one of my trucks has a thermal image camera on it.
Oh, nice.
We use drones if we can't get on a roof. So let's say it's a 2 or 3 story roof. We can't get on those. We're not carrying ladders that are big enough to go on those. It's a little bit of a safety hazard for my guys as well. So we're going to drone those roofs, but at least we can see them. We actually have a little, it's called a crawl bot. It's like a little radio RC car that 4-wheel drive. It has little wings on it so that it can't tip over, and camera with a 360 head on it with lights for certain crawl spaces that might be too small for a person to get into. So like I said, we're kind of going out of our way to really see as much as possible for the customer, to try and give them the best idea of the condition of that house so that they can make an informed decision. And that's what we're really there for. We're there to give them facts and give them a good idea of the condition of the home so that they can make an informed decision. We can't really make that decision for them, and we're not supposed to give them our opinion, because something that bothers me may not bother somebody else, and vice versa. Something that bothers somebody else may not bother me. I don't know their situation. I don't know their skills. I don't know what kind of money they have in the bank. I don't know if this is the absolute best house that they can afford that's in their price range. And honestly, owning a home is way better than paying somebody else's mortgage by renting and being at the mercy of someone else. And they may have the skill and the time to be able to fix these things. So we're not putting our opinion into it, but we're giving them the facts, and we'll help talk them through anything and explain stuff to them. And that's another thing. If somebody's not there, we always recommend that they call us after they've read the report. If they're not there, please call us. We'll go over it with them. All of my guys will, no problem. We'll call them at the end of the day. We'll go through any defects that we found, any questions that they have. We want them to be as informed as possible, and we're there for them.
Nice. If I'm thinking about listing my house, I know that if I'm selling it, the buyer's going to get an inspection to make sure that it's up to their specifications, or up to their expectations, rather. But as somebody thinking about selling, would I want to get a pre-inspection so that I know what I need to work on before I list?
Yes. So I'm gonna be completely honest. The way inspections is done in real estate, to me, seems backwards. So by doing the inspection after you've already got a deal and you've already negotiated a price and you've already went through all of that, now you have an inspection later. The deal was based on the fact that there's nothing wrong with the house, or whatever the seller knew and was able to disclose. And most of the time, I'm going to say probably 90% of the time, a seller's not trying to get over on somebody or hold something back from them. They just don't know there's an issue. I mean, even in my personal house, I'm not going up in my attic all the time. I could have a roof leak up there that I don't know about because it hasn't put any staining on the ceiling yet. So most of the time the sellers aren't trying to deceive anybody, and little things like that, they pop up, and then it causes a problem, and then you have to do second negotiations, and sometimes a buyer may think that a seller was trying to hide it from them, and then it might cause a problem. You got to put out a fire. So it would be so much easier if the inspection was done ahead of time. You go into it with full disclosure. So seller, before they list their house, we do this for quite a few sellers. Before they list the house, they'll call us. We'll do a pre-listing inspection. It's going to be the same inspection that we do for a buyer. So they're going to know everything that a buyer would know when a buyer comes in. And then the nice thing is they have, not only does it limit double negotiations, putting out fires, possibly losing a deal, possibly losing a whole bunch of money because somebody just, you're under a gun here, and now on a time crunch, can't get anybody out to price things. So you just, okay, I want $10,000 for something that might have been $1,000. So now you lose $10,000 instead of fixing it for $1,000. So it gives you the time to price around, get somebody out there, have it fixed, fix it yourself if you're knowledgeable and have proof of it, or you just disclose it and you price it properly, and it makes it a lot easier to do that as well. And if it's disclosed, there's not a problem because you disclosed everything to the client, to the potential buyer, and they know exactly what they're walking into.
That makes a ton of sense. I think if I was going to list my house, I would definitely start with an inspection because I want to know what I'm putting out there for sale.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And most of the time, it's like most of our report is normal maintenance, normal wear and tear kind of stuff. We find the more pressing issues like a roof leak or a plumbing leak. And honestly, most plumbing leaks that we find are small leaks. They're like little waste plumbing leaks at the back of a sink where the drain stopper comes in, that nut's loose, or the gasket on it's bad or something like that. So even that's little stuff, but somebody might freak out over, oh my God, the plumbing's leaking, So it's little stuff. So if you take care of a lot of that little stuff, the other nice thing is, after you fix it, have us come out and do a reinspection, and we can either show on the report that it was fixed and add the receipts and all that stuff for you that you can hand to a buyer, and it shows that you were diligent and you were trying to fix issues and stuff like that. But most of the stuff you could probably fix half of a report in a weekend for less than $1,000,
Right.
and it saves a big hassle later.
Yeah, for sure. I learned a lot today about inspections. I think being a mortgage guy, I don't think about it that much because we don't get the inspection. As a matter of fact, we probably don't want to see the inspection, right?
Yeah, we always recommend not to send the full inspection to the insurance company or to the mortgage guy.
Right.
Yeah, need to know.
Exactly. Exactly. Only give us what we want. I tell everybody that. Don't give me more than I need. Only give me what I want. Because once we see something, we can't unsee it. We say that all the time. Once we see it, we can't unsee it. Yeah. So I learned a lot today about inspections. If I am a prospective seller, buyer, real estate agent, or anybody that wants to get in touch with you to talk about services and different things, what's the best way for them to do that?
Okay, so our office number is 772-777-1688. If they want to text, that's actually a landline, so they can't text that number. So it would be best to text my wife's cell phone, which is 772-291-8448. They could visit us on our website at dbjhomeinspections.com. They could shoot us an email at dbjhomeinspections@gmail.com, or find us on Facebook at DBJ Home Inspections as well. And then one more thing I actually kind of forgot to add in there from earlier when we were talking about the pest inspections. As a home inspector, we're not allowed to do pest inspections. You have to have a pest control operator's license. I went and got that license, and all my guys are duly licensed so that we can do our own pest inspections. So you don't have to call another person, possibly call in, if you have a gate, call in 2 different people at different times. Makes it a lot easier for everybody, and we can get those done for our customers.
Absolutely. Sounds like there's a lot of different things that you can do that usually take more than one person, but you guys are out there, you're licensed, you're experienced in those areas. So that helps out any home buyer, right?
For sure. And then on top of that, after the inspection, we don't just disappear, man. We actually pay for a third-party warranty that goes with all of our inspections, or all of our full home inspections for all of our customers. And if they ever have a problem and they need help going through that warranty, we're there for them. We try and stay involved with that. We want to get them some coverage if they have coverage for something, because electronic and mechanical components, they just fail at any time. And some of that stuff is covered under there. They have roof leak coverage for up to 5 years. There's a bunch of different things that are included in those warranties that we kind of pay for to protect our customers and give them a little extra peace of mind.
That's awesome. All right. So, Devin, I ask all of our guests the same question. I'm going to ask you that question too. What is one thing, you have to narrow it down to one thing, that you love about either living or working on the Space Coast?
One thing, man, one's hard, dude.
I know.
I gotta be honest. Let's go with living. Dude, the restaurants around here are awesome. We've got some great restaurants around here, man. We actually moved up to the Space Coast just last year because we cover from we're based out of, the company's based out of Fort Pierce, and we used to live in Fort Pierce. And the company covers from all of Palm Beach all the way through the end of the Space Coast, and we're expanding out to Orlando market now and everything. But we live here on the Space Coast now, and we've been getting out and going around and checking out all the restaurants and all the little mom and pop places, and the food's been amazing. Like, I love it, and I'm a big foodie, so that's
Sure.
one big thing for me that I've loved about living here on the Space Coast.
That's awesome. I agree with you. I think we have really, really cool restaurants, unique little boutique places here to eat and get a snack or a drink. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, my friend. Well, Devin, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing everything with us about DBJ. And I'm going to leave the email address and all the different ways to get in touch with you in the show notes as well. So anybody that's listening or watching, if you want to get in touch with Devin and his company and ask them for anything that they do, I'll make sure you have a way to do so.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
All right. We'll have you back on again real soon. Thanks so much, and we'll talk again.
Thanks, man. Have a great Friday.
You as well, my friend.